Let me start off by saying this is our first video of the new year and the new decade, so I'm gonna make sure it's a really, really good one. I mean, we do that with all our videos, but I'm gonna put a little bit of extra salt and pepper into this one. So here's the thing, with New Year comes this whole New Year, New You, annoying, garbagey theme, and it drives all of us crazy because we're like, yeah, we'll do all of this stuff in January, and then by February it kind of plummets. So what I'd like to do instead of giving you this whole rah-rah New Year, New You chat is I want to actually give you 10 rules for a cleaner home that you can actually implement, things that I have used over the years. As a lot of you know, I'm a recovering slob, and these things are incremental and they actually work. So they're not hard to do and they make a difference. So in this video, I'm going to share with you those 10 rules, and you can really and truly live in a cleaner home if you follow them. And just a quick reminder, if you haven't done so already, to subscribe to the Clean My Space channel, make sure you turn on those the notification bell, there aren't multiple, so that you always know when we have a new video coming out, and give this video a thumbs up if you're excited to kick the decade off right. Tell me if this is something that you do. It's certainly something that I do. When someone comes over, one of the first things that you do after you greet them is you apologize for the state of cleanliness or lack thereof in your home. Now, this isn't to say that I live in a pigsty, but of course I don't live in a magazine-ready home. And if you sometimes feel this pressure that your home needs to be perfectly clean when someone comes over, and if it's not, you're all stressed out, then when that person comes over, you immediately feel this need to apologize. And what does that do to the other person? It makes them feel awkward. They don't know how to respond to that. And it's uncomfortable. You know, they came over for another purpose. So rather than apologizing, take a deep breath, own where you're at. And I'm like telling you this, but I'm also like putting it up here for my own news I can use, and just own it and say, fine, this is what my place looks like. I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it, and if I wanna change it, I know that I can. Since building my cleaning business out and training cleaning specialists, since creating our YouTube videos, writing blog posts for the website, and putting my book together, also called Clean My Space, I have instilled this idea of figuring out the products, tools, and techniques that you need for any cleaning job at hand, so that way you always know how to approach something before you actually get there. Then you're not going to be spending as much time trying to figure everything out while you're actually in the thick of things. So the rule here is to know the products, tools, and techniques in your cleaning arsenal so that you can approach any cleaning task confidently and efficiently. And of course, if you want some of my favorite product, tools, and techniques, I will link my book down below for you, as well as some great videos that we've put together on various cleaning techniques, including the S pattern, the 3-wave system. We've got a few more that I will talk about in the links, and some great DIY product videos for you as well. One of the big trends that's going on right now, and I'm actually a fan of, is living a more minimal lifestyle. Now, this doesn't mean having 3 or 4 items in every room in your home, but it just means being mindful and present about the items that you have or bring into your home. Now, this also extends out to, let's say, those sentimental items that you're hanging on to that you just can't get rid of, or those kind of one-time items that you have at home for like the one occasion that you need them every year. This tends to put people into a bit of a tailspin when it comes to decluttering or thinking through the things that they have at home. So if this is you and you're stuck here, here's what I would suggest to you. Be present and be mindful. Think about what you have, what you need, what makes you happy in your space. If you have something from 20, 30 years ago and you don't really need it or use it anymore, you can safely move on from it. I mean, so many times I'll go to my basement, you know, where we keep things like that, and I'll kind of look at something and I'll just say, I don't really have use for this anymore. And I've been holding on to it for so long, and then I just kind of get to a point or a cliff and I'm like, I'm over it. I can move on from this. Now, we actually have a video about emotional clutter, so I'll link that for you down below if that's an area that you're struggling in. But the other part of this is just being mindful about what you bring into your home. So anytime you pick something up with the intent of bringing it home, ask yourself, do I need this? Do I want it? Do I love it? Do I already have one? Because if any of those things kind of make you rethink bringing that item home, you should probably leave it where it is. One of my favorite things to do, and one of the first things that I learned about in cleaning, was this concept of doing multiple things at one time, but sort of having things happen passively in the background while you're actively cleaning. This is something that I call layering with cleaning. So you can kind of think about all of the tasks that you have at hand when you're approaching a cleaning job, and then thinking about how you can use layering to reduce the actual amount of work that you have to do for a given chore. So a great example would be cleaning your bedroom. The way that I would layer is like this. The first thing I know I need to do is strip the sheets. So I will just quickly strip off the sheets, throw them in the wash, and then the wash can happen, that's a passive thing, while I'm cleaning the rest of the room. That way I know by the time I put the sheets in the dryer, my room is going to be clean and I can move on to another cleaning task. The only other thing I have to do is throw my sheets back on the bed. So in doing these sort of bigger tasks, you can break them down and say, what can I put on autopilot or passively do so that I can accomplish a lot in the same or less amount of time? Another thing you can do, or another kind of layering concept, is pre-treating. A lot of you have heard me talk about pre-treating before. It's because I love it and it works. Products are designed to work really, really well if given the opportunity. And what that means is just pre-treating a surface, putting your product on there for a few minutes, 2, 3, 5, 7, 10, however long it needs. You get all your other work done so that by the time you come back to that pre-treated surface, all you have to do is wipe. You don't really have to scrub or break a sweat. The product has done a lot of the work for you. And that's just because you use the power of layering. It's more than likely that one of the most popular Pinterest topics is weekly cleaning routine for a reason. People love having cleaning routines laid out for them. And when I started my cleaning business, one of the first things I did was created a checklist that I could then use to show my clients the exact work that would be done. They could visualize the cleaning routine that I would be doing in their homes. And that was such an effective thing for our clients. I also know how effective it is for people who are just cleaning themselves at home. Because, sometimes when you go into a room, the first thing that hits you is overwhelm. You don't know where to start. And you don't know how frequently you should be doing this. And this is like a cause for anxiety and uncertainty. So a great way to just bring it back home is to have a weekly cleaning routine or a monthly cleaning routine. And then you know exactly what it is that you need to check off on your cleaning list so you know that you're getting everything done. Now, the second part of this is actually scheduling it in so that you make sure that you're getting your work done. I'm a firm believer of what gets scheduled gets done. If you need proof, you should just see what my weekly calendar looks like. It's a little bit scary, but I have to tell you that I just get everything done on that list, generally speaking, and if I don't, I can roll it over to another day. So just remember, have a routine, and what gets scheduled gets done. And I'd love to know in the comments down below, would you guys like to see me do a weekly cleaning routine video? Let me know. There are two things that you can do to stay on top of your cleaning. The first one is to clean as you go. And the second one is to stay on top of your messes. So what the first thing looks like is this. Let's say you're in the kitchen and you're you're cooking. Of course, I'm thinking about cleaning. You're cooking something and you're serving dinner. As you're doing the cooking, think about cleaning as you go. That way you have less to clean up at the end of the meal. And the second one, cleaning messes immediately, looks like this. If something spills juice on the floor, if there's toothpaste in the sink, or some schmutz on the counter, rather than just leaving it because you think, oh, it's small, no big deal. Small things build up. I have a couple of points to prove this for you. I have this one thing I love saying about cleaning, that messes are magnetic. So mess attracts more mess. And there's also a broader theory about this called the broken window theory, where if somebody sees a broken window, the next thing you know, there's graffiti, there's garbage, and it just becomes this disaster, derelict building. So rather than letting that happen, stay on top of your messes and clean as you go. cleaning is a family or a group responsibility. Whether you live with family members or you live with roommates, everybody has to pitch in. It's a matter of taking ownership, taking responsibility, and taking pride in the space that you live in. So what this could look like is calling a family or a group meeting and saying, this is where I'm at, this is my capacity, this is what I need help with, and saying, what are all of you good at and what is everyone willing to take on? Then it has to come down to everyone in your family getting on board. I can tell you that going after this from a negative standpoint is not gonna get you where you wanna be. Now, I will tell you, we have a video called How to Get Your Spouse to Clean, I think. It's a really good video because we talk through a lot of the challenges that come up when having this conversation with your spouse, your partner, your roommate, or your kids. So I'm gonna link that video for you down below, but I just want you to know, cleaning cannot fall solely on one person's shoulders if that person lives among other people. So make sure that your kids are participating and that your family is participating because it's really important for your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. What I want to say here as a rule is to be ruthless with the stuff in your house and not to let your clutter control you. Your clutter, sometimes we ascribe an emotional value to the stuff that we have in our home, but that is just something that we've imbued upon that item. It doesn't actually exist. It's not a real thing. It's just what we've given it because maybe there's guilt or shame or fear or a history with that thing. But if it doesn't serve you and you don't need it, then why hang on to it? Which is why I say be ruthless. Be like a Blackbeard pirate. Be just like a psychopath. Don't have emotion when you're looking at your stuff. If you need it, great. If you don't need it, move on. If you love it, I mean, that's kind of where the emotion comes in. So bye-bye Blackbeard. But if you love it, then yes, you should keep it. But if it's like a box of something that is just not serving you, or a thing from 30 years ago that you found at a garage sale that's just kind of there because it's there, maybe it's time to move on. So look at your stuff with fresh eyes. If it doesn't serve you, be ruthless with it and say goodbye. You can find cleaning ideas and inspiration in all sorts of little corners of the world. And the place that I found this cleaning rule was at a steakhouse that I used to work at many years ago when I first started Clean My Space. And it's the concept of having your hands full. Now what this looked like at the restaurant was you always had to have your hands full, whether it was running food, watering tables, clearing dishes. If you did not have something in your hands, you would get a dirty look from your manager, and you did not want to be the person that was receiving that dirty look. So that mentality came with me as I started cleaning professionally, and it's something I've shared in videos quite a bit. But this idea of always having your hands full anytime you leave a room means that the flow of clutter is constantly moving. I don't know if clutter is the right word, but the flow of stuff in your house is constantly moving, so you really don't get the kind of buildup that you would get if you were just leaving everything where it was. And it also helps this concept of cleaning as you go. It helps to remind you, hey, as you leave this room, make sure that you take your cups and your plates out with you as you head to the kitchen, or take your books and your iPad or whatever else you have with you back to your bedroom as you're heading in that direction. Just having this in mind and knowing, like, if I look at my hands, I'm like, what am I carrying? What can I put somewhere else? It's just a really good way to exist because it means that so much less stuff builds up and things get to where they need to go. I wonder if I should call this the most important rule, and that is to adjust your expectations, because you are probably doing your very best right now, and it's just a matter of you making some tweaks so that you can improve further. But if you start beating yourself up for not being perfect, you're gonna stop before you even get halfway. So I want you to keep that in mind and just manage and adjust your expectations. The other thing I'll say is this. I was recently reading this Facebook post, and I'm in a couple of mom Facebook groups, and this one mom said, I don't even know what to do anymore. I have 4 kids at home. I have to keep everything clean and I just can't keep up. What do you guys do to keep your house clean? And like, so many of the responses just said, adjust your expectations. And it's so true. If you can't live in the kind of house that you want to live in today because you have toddlers running around, That's reasonable. So just remember, give yourself a bit of a break. The other thing I'll say to you is like a lot of the things that you're learning about cleaning, they're habits, they're new skills, they take time to implement. So just remember that where you are today, you're gonna be in a better place in a few weeks or a few months from now. You just have to give yourself time for those skills to sink in. Those are my 10 rules. And you can see I'm not asking you or suggesting that you do anything big here. These are all small tweaks, small changes. And you can see my whole theme and the way that I work is I like to be gentle, because for me, if it's too harsh, I'm not gonna do it. So I want you to succeed, and that's why I brought that energy to these 10 rules. And that brings me to this week's comment question, which is this. At Clean My Space Services, when we get a new client on the phone, one of the first things we ask them to do is to rate their space. Say 1 is a fraternity house and 10 is Martha Stewart's house. Where would your house fall? And I'd love to know in the comments below, where does your house fall? Now, of course, this is completely subjective. I would say on any given day, my house is between a 7 and an 8. It's pretty good, but it could use some improvement. And I'd love to know in the comments what yours is. So let me know, just leave a number, leave a rating in the comments down below. If you want to see what we're up to during the rest of the week, you can follow along on Instagram. I'm at Melissa Maker, Chad is at the Chad Reynolds, and the two of us are at Clean My Space. If you like the Clean My Space channel and you want to support the work we do, a great way to do that, and it's so easy, is just to watch another video right after this one, and here are a couple that we think you might love. If you want to learn more about Maker's clean microfiber cloths, you can click this button right over here. There is a button down there that lets me know you care, so click it if you liked this video, and click this button right here to subscribe and begin your journey to a cleaner life. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.